Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Interesting Modelling Co. live show. Yes, it's the 1st of November. Hurrah. Let's get rid of this year and start a new one, shall we? Let's start all over again. Tonight, well, we're actually splitting the show into two parts tonight. Tonight, we're going to have another go at looking at the Zvezda Hercules after Wednesday's broadcast went technical issues, yada, yada, yada. And then Spencer and I will be talking about our highlights of the modelling week. So let's just dive straight in to the Zvezda Hercules. And we thought, if you're going to talk about a brand new state-of-the-art Hercules kit, then you need somebody who actually works on the things. And so we are very delighted tonight to welcome a very special guest. It's Jennifer Wright. Hello, Jen.
Hello.
How are you? I'm fine.
Fantastic.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
I'm delighted to be here, Old Spoon. Delighted.
Yeah, you were after we had to kind of force you. But for those in, as I said, for those who don't know, Jen actually works with Hercules, so she has a knowledge of the aeroplane, indeed. So you've been looking forward to this kit, haven't you?
Yes, a touch. Yes, I was introduced to these Zvezda chaps at Telford last year, if you recall, by Drew, I think, maybe, and Andy, and they mentioned the kit, so I've been patiently waiting ever since then, a whole year, basically. So yeah, I'm well happy.
I think it's quite remarkable that Zvezda announced that kit kind of like round about this time last year, and it's here. There's no messing around with Zvezda. If they announce something, you get it, you know.
And kind of quite out of the blue, not a lot of waffle online about it at all. It's just it's here.
No, they are a no fuss manufacturer. That's what I like about Zvezda. So you've got a copy of the kit now. What were your first impressions of it?
Initial impressions on getting the pieces out of the box. It's very Zvezda. Anybody who's familiar with modern Zvezda won't be surprised by what's in the box. It's nice. It's crisp and clean, and it's nicely molded. You know, all that good stuff. The detail on it is decent. You know, it's not super detailed. It's not going to blow Tamiya out of the water anytime soon. But what is there is basically correct, which is nice. So it's a really solid canvas for people who want to go nuts on a Herc to do so and not be, dare I say it, wasting their time like they would be with an Italeri kit.
Or indeed the old Eshi one.
Hashtag just saying. Sorry.
Yeah, you know.
It's been a long time coming.
Absolutely. What have they got right and what have they got wrong or missed off?
Well, first off, I should explain to anybody who is a viewer that I've never worked on the H model Hercules, or the K as we called it. I've always been a C-130J person, but obviously a lot of it's quite similar. My initial thoughts on looking through the parts were that the kit actually, to be fundamentally correct, only covers a late or modern H properly. The H has two distinct types of H. There's the older one with the old dials cockpit and the old style GTC APU, and the newer one, which everyone's using now, which has got the relocated APU, the relocated flight deck cargo pack, and semi-glass cockpit. It's not a full glass cockpit, but it's a mishmash. Really.
So given that one of the options in this kit is for a Royal Air Force aircraft from Operation Desert Storm, I'm taking it then that whereabouts in the H upgrades would that one have fallen?
It was never an H. The C-130K is the C-130E.
Sorry, K.
It's an E. It was an E. It's an E with some British avionics.
Right.
So that's why it got called a K. However, externally, if you fit the early style inserts and whatnot externally, it's fine.
Right.
Technically, if you want to be a massive geek, and that's why I'm here, the detail on the frame 245, which is the big one at the back of the cockpit, is wrong for an early H or indeed the K or an E or an A. But if you shut the thing up, you will not see it. And to be honest, you're not going to see it without a flashlight, even if you've got it open. So I wouldn't worry about it. Externally, it's there.
So Svezda is slightly in error by actually describing that one as a C-130H. It's not really an H then.
No, it's not. Never was.
No. Let's go through your lovely photographs that you've taken for us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I think the first thing that you've commented on here is the cut lines.
Yeah, so here this is a photograph of some of the roof detail and upper fuselage trim. And as you can see on the back side of it, there's this fabulous cut line, which, as Drew rightly pointed out, does suggest that Zvezda have a stretch Herc in the works, because cutting that off at the front would, the front extension would take up that length basically. What I couldn't find anywhere on the frames was any evidence of a separate infill for the back end where the rear stretch plug is. But I'm guessing that will come with the new fuselage sprue, which the stretch kit would have, I would assume. But I can't see why they'd put that very precisely placed cut on those parts if they didn't have that intention at some point.
Yeah. Feel free to chime in.
Chime in. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Clap. Yeah. Slow hand. This is the chine rail. The Hercules is built around these two chine rails. They're massive structural members that she said member that form the strength of the fuselage. Basically, the main structural longerons of the fuselage. They're called the chine rails, and they create this corner in the shape of the cross section. It's not a circular fuselage at all. It's a circle with a flattened bottom, and you've got that very distinct corner there, which is where the chine rail is. And that is a detail that most of the kits either lack completely or get it really very wrong. Zvezda have pretty much got that bang on, which is nice to see.
I think the old Airfix kit, going back to the late 60s, early 70s, was probably one of the only other kits that really understood that nuance.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's fair to say, honestly, that the Airfix kit is probably overall the most accurate one until this one came along, to be fair. Until they destroyed it to make a gunship anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that. For those who don't know that particular story, in the roundabout the early 1980s, Airfix took a number of kits. This is Palitoy Airfix. They took a number of kits and they retooled them, including the Canberra, but they retooled them without the ability to actually go back to the original kit. So once Airfix did the C-130 into an AC-130, end of the C-130, you can't change the tooling back anyway.
Okay, so this bit is what I've always called the hips. It's not hips, obviously, but I've always called it that. And what this is where the cargo door is at the back. Cargo door opens up into the roof of the fuselage. And to accommodate that, the top of the fuselage has to be wider at the back there than it is everywhere else. But it's not actually wider. The plan view is straight all the way down. But what they've done is just shifted the corners up, if you like, and put a bit of a bulge there, which allows the cargo door space to open up into the roof. And again, this is an aspect that none of the other kits have got at all anywhere near right. That's why I've taken the photo with the shadow, just to show that. And if you look down, if you get the fuselage and look down it, or if you look at a real one, you can see how it kind of bumps out and it just looks like a hip.
I think you can see on that photograph there that where you've got that little bit of the fillet coming off the top of the wing, and then you've got that panel line, and there is a distinct kind of sag, and then you can see where the light is bouncing back out again. I have to admit that is a feature of the Hercules that I've never really actually appreciated. When I start looking at photographs, it'll be the first thing now I'll probably notice, and will think, how the heck did I ever never see that in the first place?
How did I ever miss that? Yeah.
How did I ever miss that? Exactly.
All of the cargo aircraft that are out there that have this ramp and door arrangement have got a similar arrangement going on, where that aft rear fuselage is stretched or widened in some way. This is the wheels. Yay.
I wonder what they were.
These are great. You know, the detail on these wheels is really good and actually accurate. Again, a first, because believe it or not, I have a large collection of aftermarket so-called improvement parts, and none of them are any good. When it comes to wheels, they're all just as bad as kit ones, just in different ways. These wheels are accurate, but the tyres are not. The tyres are weird square ones that have come from a tank, and they have no treads. The treads on a Hercules tyre, I can put my fingers in, is how big they are. So it's a very big missing visual detail, the fact that there are no treads on those tyres. And I might commission Mr. Manton to 3D print some new ones, I think.
Well, actually, unfortunately, he's not here tonight. But I would suggest to I think Drew's around, but I would suggest to Mike Greaves of Phase Hangar that actually I think a set of decent C-130 tyres might not be a bad idea when you think about it.
No, quite. And I mean, there are obviously the pre-available aftermarket wheels will more likely be able to be used anyway. But as I say, mostly they're incorrect as well, just in different ways. So.
Now, this is a feature that you said is a first. It's never been included in any Herc kits before.
No, this is the mountings, or the turrets, if you like. We call them turrets, for the LAIRCM system. That's the Large Aircraft Infrared Countermeasures, and you can see that's a real C-130K, and that's the Royal Air Force version of the turret. Now, the USAF turrets are different. They're not massively different, but they're more like the ones in the kit. As you can see, if you compare the two, the one in the kit does not include the actual laser. The freaking laser beam is missing. So the SLTA, as it's known, isn't there. Nor is it. I do have a photo of them with the shipping covers attached, but I didn't send that across. But if the actual laser's not fitted, there is a blanking cap, but it still doesn't look like that. However, it's a start, and you could take I mean, you see from the shape of the real thing there, it wouldn't be difficult to scratch build one and stick it on there, or get something from a weapons kit a weapons set that's similar.
Now, hang on. That sounds like you're talking about dangerously, like modelling.
Oh, I should be a bit more careful with
we'll have
such frivolous language. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have none of that modelling lark here. We'll have no trouble here.
Do apologise, darling.
Yes, that's okay. You know what it's like. People are very sensitive to the idea of actually having to do some work on a model these days. But and also two types of door, I believe.
Yeah, these are the paratroop doors. Excuse me. The ones on the left with the porthole affair, that's the early H/Ks, A's, etc. will use that door, and the late H and indeed the J use the door with the larger square window in it. That's a nice little point, I thought that was.
Yeah, because again, that's a feature that I don't think any of the previous kits have really appreciated. They've either done one or the other, but they've not actually accommodated both.
Yeah, quite. And even more unique, there are fittings in the kit, they're already there, for some reason not mentioned in the instructions as far as I can see, to correctly fit the paratroop door in the open position, as shown there. That's just popped into place, but that's how it should sit when it's open. And yeah, I think that's great. I don't know why it's not mentioned in the instructions, but it isn't, as far as I can see. But yeah, nice touch, Vesda. Very nice.
And you've started, I mean, you've been cracking away with this one as well, and you've started putting the interior together. It was one of the things that we were talking about. One of the things I remember from Wednesday was that I think with something like a Hercules, you just got to provide the basics. There's no point in going mad with too much detail, because really aren't going to see it. The only area you're really going to see anything is the cargo bay doors, really. So, but
Yeah,
that cockpit looks to be quite busy.
it's decent. Yeah, again, the basics are there, and they're essentially correct.
Mhm.
And to add the parts that are missing in a basic sense would be very, very easy.
Mhm.
But as I say, the geography of it is right. It's missing the left side panel for clarity of the photo, but the geography's there, and the size and shape of things is pretty much right.
Mm.
So it's an easy an easy basis to make it a little bit better if you really want to.
Mhm.
I have put my fuselage halves together with it in, and it's painted now, and even before you put the transparencies in, it's kind of hard to see any of it, to be honest.
Mm.
However, you could take the top emergency patch out to let some light in there and things like that. If you bother.
The burning question, if you pardon the unfortunate choice of language, is: does it include a toilet?
No, but the toilet on the old ones wasn't fixed, was it?
Right. So
It's
no, that was always
basically. True story.
Sophisticated stuff for the Royal Air Force there.
Yes.
That was always a salient feature of the artillery kit that included the toilet. Talking of clear parts.
Nice link. There, the flight deck windows on the Hercules are flat.
Mm-hmm.
All of the other kits so far have neglected to notice that fact. The main, obviously the upper windows are curved, obviously, but the main windows are all flat panes, and that leads to the nose of the aircraft actually has quite a faceted appearance when you look at it properly because of that. And again, Zvezda have smashed it. That's bang on. This one, if you look at the little windows running across the middle of the picture there, that's showing you there are 4 different options for missile warning sensor formats or fits. There isn't a standard fitment. You have to look at your Fs because all of the air forces have different systems and put the bits in different places. But Zvezda have covered most of the bases there, which is nice. Another thing that no one else has done.
But the kit doesn't include the little Astro dome, which some of the Royal Air Force aircraft are fitted with.
No, the C-130Ks mostly had the big clear bubble on the top of the Astrodome, and believe it or not, back in the day they actually used it for its intended purpose as well. But it was a roll fit, so it is perfectly fair to not have it fitted. It's just that they generally were on the Royal Air Force ones. So again, if I dare say, for modelers, you could make your own quite happily. I'm sure someone will come up with one. Zvezda might even do it. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Colours and markings. Now, what scheme are you going for again?
I am doing the Royal Air Force one.
Of course you are.
Andy told me to. I wanted to do the Japanese one because it's funky, but he's asked me nicely if I'll do the RAF one initially, so I think
we've all seen the photographs that Zvezda put up on their Facebook page of the chap who's already finished one in those Japanese markings, and it is gorgeous. It is just stunning. It really is.
I would say to all you interested modelers out there is please don't follow Zvezda's colour suggestions because they're a touch wide of the mark.
Yes, which does lead us to the decals.
Oh, your favourite bit?
Well, I say my favourite bit because, by and large, the colours for the RAF roundels are good. The sizes are good, and the sheet is certainly busy. You do get what is a common sheet between the two aircraft and all the kind of common stenciling and things. The one thing, I mean, depending on what scheme you are building yours in, is it going to be camel or is it going to be? It's going to be the kit scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's it's dark sea grey and dark green over light aircraft grey. So those walkway lines aren't correct.
No, I was going to say the walkway lines aren't correct. They should be yellow with. Are they red or black? I can't remember
both, depending on when it was done. But on the earlier ones, red, yellow and red with like dashes. Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed, because I am absolutely, sadly obsessed with these kinds of things is they've got the numbering styles, and the lettering is just completely out of whack, unfortunately.
Yeah.
As you can see there, I've taken the Svesda artwork and I've overlaid some of the Royal Air Force alphabet that I have drawn from the actual spec sheets. You have to bear in mind that even within the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy, these sometimes vary. The shapes do sometimes vary. But looking at the aircraft concerned, the 5 is definitely wrong. It should be as the yellow outline there. And when I was looking at the photograph of this particular RAF Hercules, the spacing on the word Royal it's out on the decal sheet, partly because they've made the A2 wide, but also sometimes with Royal Air Force and Royal Navy, sometimes they move the A in to close up the gap on the edge of the Y. Sometimes they align it towards the edge of the Y. Sometimes they actually put a stroke width gap in between. And on this particular one, it appears to have the gap in between. So you can. This is the thing: you can never have the same Royal Air Force or Royal Navy titling between aircraft, because they will be different. So it's a small matter. I think if you really want to do this kit justice, you are going to want to go out and buy yourself an aftermarket sheet of some sort just to correct the certainly the stenciling for the Royal Air Force ones and the numbering as well. But I think given what Svesda have done, what they've tried to do, but just the quality of the plastic, something like that. It's annoying, but it doesn't bother me because the plastic is good. The decals, you know.
Basis is there, and they are nice decals as well, actually. I've put all of the internal ones on, and they're really nice.
So how far have you got with yours at the moment then? I know you said you got the interior together.
If I can get it to go in the picture, I couldn't when Spencer was looking, but that's the main interior piece. That's all done and basically painted. Look at the colour of that flight deck, isn't it hideous?
I am going to suggest that you actually need to kind of pen an article on RAF Hercules colours.
Well,
the definitive guide.
I'm no expert on the K because I never worked it. I have worked on it, but not the J. I could talk to you about that all day long.
But you're in a position to find out that information, though, aren't you?
You would think.
Yeah, you'd think.
This is from memory because I remember thinking what a god awful colour it was, and why is the top half of it magnolia? I remember that, and I have photographs from the time, and indeed from, believe it or not, I also collect Hercules books, and I've got a photograph from one of those from that time period. But again, later they went grey. So as they evolved and got continually refitted through the years, which they did, the flight decks all went grey, the same as the J. But that aft cargo bay colour always stayed that colour, which is this colour. And I know you all can't see this. This is a shred of metal from one that got damaged with the interior green and in fact the cockpit grey colour on it that I used to match my colour to.
Yeah, there's a bit of a paint rack war going on here. It's it's
rack wars. Well, I'm
rack wars, yeah,
because I've got one fitted to me, you know, as well.
Rob Monfils says, any idea on the walkway colours for the middle stone dark earth scheme? Do you know what, Rob? This almost sounds like this question was planted. It genuinely hasn't, everybody, because as I was digging around for information this morning, I did actually come across that, and I've just realised that I haven't actually put it up on the screen here. Whoops-a-daisy. So I'm just going to go and grab that. I know. I'm just going to go and grab that a second, Jen. So to kind of wrap up your impressions of the kit, then what would be your kind of your essential summary on this?
I totally get one.
Yeah.
3 or so. Yeah, definitely. I am really looking forward to them doing a J. I can't believe they won't. I really hope they do. If they don't, I'll just convert it myself as I can. I probably will anyway because I'm impatient, you know. And also the stretch. I think this. I like the short Hercs, and I liked flying on them because they were fast. But the stretch ones have just got a certain extra elegance about them. I don't know. They just look better. So it'd be really good to have a stretch kit. So hopefully that will come along. But I've got no reservations. It fits together nicely. It's accurate, or it's good enough, and it's
absolutely,
price, isn't it?
Oh, blimey, yeah. I mean, the Svezda are blowing it out the park at the moment with their prices. Which anybody says, "Oh, this hobby is expensive." No, not expensive. Not a word in Svezda's language. Rob, to answer your question, I've just messaged you this, and according to this is actually from Airfix magazine, and A.M. Alderson, he used to do quite a lot of these drawings in Airfix magazine, and they are utterly brilliant. The one for the Nat I actually used for the Nat kit because he just recorded everything. So, in answer to your question, walkway boundary, 3.25 inch diameter dots at approximately 24-inch pitch, canary yellow, shown black on drawing. So, and then walkway matte non-skid finish, including roundel. So I've just messaged you that. So that should be able to help you with your inquiry. So let's just get the messages back off the screen again. Oh, Craig Sargent says Svezda already announced Jay, if I recall correctly. So
excellent. That'll be 3 more I have to build.
So you will be continuing this build on the Festival of Modelling, won't you?
I will. Yes, it's sure to feature in there somehow, somewhere.
Excellent.
And possibly throughout the week, depending how I get on. I'm hoping to get the fuselage together before I quit tonight, so it's going quite fairly quickly.
Brilliant. Jen, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here tonight. It really has, because one of the things we're very keen to do with this show is shake it up, so it's not just me and Pollard bloviating all the time. So you are, yeah, ideally, yes. In a perfect world, yeah. You've seen my ghost stories, haven't you? Yes, absolutely. No, Jen, it's been a pleasure. We are going to have you back on the show again because there's lots of things. Oh no, we haven't finished with you. I almost finished with you. We haven't finished with you because I know I was sending you off.
880.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you all these compliments again. We're going to do this bit, then I'm just going to boot you off. We have actually kind of slightly worked together on a Hercules project in the past ish.
A little bit, didn't we?
We did a little bit. What happened was in 2015, it was 47 Squadron were casting around for some ideas for an anniversary scheme, and Jen here got onto me and she said, "Oi, matey, can you come up with some ideas?" So I said, "Sure can."
As a designer, you can help with this.
I can help with this. And so what I ended up doing was coming up with a number of variations. I was only told that it was only the fin that would be painted, but as the plan. Yeah. As we subsequently see, the budget got extended. But although they didn't use one of my designs as is, what they did end up doing was actually incorporating 2 of the designs into a single design, which you can see here. So essentially, it was the red, yellow, and blue swoosh on the fin, and the large heron for the actual crane. Crane. You think I'd know that?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is one of my few claims to fame that I did help influence the design scheme for the 47 Squadron Hercules, the 100th anniversary one. Was also promised a flight in the Hercules, but never got it. But we won't cross that bridge.
Knackered. I did get to fly in that actual aircraft for the Queen's birthday fly past. It was a reward for my efforts.
I was supposed to be on one of those flights, and I got bumped for journalists apparently. So
I don't know. I can't remember. This was like 4 years ago.
Oh, I can. Trust me, I can.
He bears a grudge, folks. Be careful.
I do. Although it has to be said, I've just finished another project, and I was chatting to a guy who said, "Well, next time you're in the area, pop along. We'll give you a flight." So I'm like, because this is the
It's become very difficult actually for us, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I
to
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
get
This
civilians
is
up.
the weird thing, and this is confession of the evening here for somebody who has surrounded his life with aviation and draws aeroplanes and builds aeroplanes and loves aeroplanes. I've never flown in an aeroplane.
At all?
No, do you know why? You wouldn't get me up in them. I know too much
What?
about them.
What?
No, it's a claustrophobic thing. I just
Yeah, I can
can't
understand
do
that
it.
actually.
I can't do that. Right, for the second time this evening, Jen, it's been a pleasure.
No, really.
We'll get you back on the show, and we'll see you at the weekend. And you've been an absolute star. Thanks for your input. Now,
Thank you very
please
much.
go. Now, please go away.
Right,
Get
see
off
ya.
my land.
Bye.
Bye, Jen. Bye. Fantastic. Really enjoyed having Jen on, and he's back. It's Mr. P. So you enjoy that? I thought that was brilliant.
I enjoyed that a great deal, actually. First of all, can you hear me? Just making sure everything's working okay. I feel like, though, that I've let the side down somewhat because I don't appear to be surrounded by industrial quantities of paint tins.
This actually isn't here. This is a blue screen, and
Is it?
this cost hundreds of thousands of pounds for Industrial Light and Magic to generate it as CGI. You know, they do those backgrounds in The Mandalorian. It's all done with LED screens.
So you're actually in a plain green box then?
Well, essentially what happened was that I kind of worked out how much it would cost to actually go out and buy all this paint.
Yeah.
And so I invested in these kind of large LED screens, which were actually 100 times more than it would have been to buy the paint. So clearly, do not trust me with financial investments. So
no, indeed. I feel well. That's reassured me slightly that for somebody who doesn't really like a great deal of things on the wall around him, that I'm not letting the side down. Really,
I think less is more sometimes.
Indeed, yes. That's
So
the way I tend to approach things.
How are you? How are you enjoying your adventures with Blue Foam this week or last week, rather?
I'm actually very good. It's been an interesting week that culminated in my announcement on Wednesday. I guess that I'm moving on from being the editor of Model Airplane International. I think that's the big news for this week. So yes, so I'm moving aside, and instead of editing the magazine and being just involved day to day in the running of it and sourcing material, that I'm going to be going back to building models instead. On a regular basis. So that was the kind of first thing, which was something that's perhaps been coming for a while, but it was good to have that discussion with work and sort of sort something out. So yeah, that's interesting. And then of course yesterday happened, which has thrown absolutely everything completely up in the air. So don't really know what's going on now, but given that I was furloughed until the end of last week, and now they're extending furlough until the end of next month, allegedly. So I don't know what's going on anymore, frankly. But there we are. That's the situation. But also, I've been working on Blue Foam. Yeah, this thing for the festival. You might remember that I've been kind of learning how to use this material, which sounds extraordinary given that I've spent the whole summer sculpting buildings out of styrofoam. But this material, this blue styrofoam, is slightly different. So I've now got a wall.
That is insane.
As you can see. So what I've got is, if I put it kind of up to the camera, you can kind of see this thing here.
Yeah.
What this is a section of wall that's going to be like a very large kind of farmhouse stroke barn kind of thing. I'm working on a quite an involved Ardennes scene at the moment, which is going to probably be the biggest thing I've built all year, and it's going to involve more than one building. So this is one of the buildings, and then I've also worked on this is the wall section for the smaller of the sheds. So there are going to be two sort of full buildings here.
How much of that facade you just showed me, the large facade, how much of that is carved and how much of that is additional strips?
This one, this piece is additional.
Yeah.
If I put it up there. So this section here is an additional piece. That's one section just cut down. The windowsills, this bit here and this one here, that's a separate part.
Mhm.
and so is this piece here, the
Mhm.
strip that runs along. The rest of it is carved out of one piece of 10 mil styrofoam.
And again, if you were to go out and buy that as a molding, you would be spending
30
big
odd
money.
quid easily.
Yeah.
Easily, I would think.
Whereas that literally costs pence.
I'm trying to think how much this has cost. This has probably cost me 50p.
Yeah.
Because it comes out of a much bigger sheet. It comes out of a sheet that's 4 feet by 2 feet in size, which cost me £2.99 or £4 or something like that. So that's probably about 50-60p, something like that. But I'm trying to learn how to sort of get this. So if I can sort of put this up, if I can put it in the light, you can sort of see the texturing on the wall here. And what I've been doing is I've been experimenting with, I think I showed these off before, but these are the tools that I've been using to sculpt this, and these are essentially used for sculpting clay. I think you might have a set of these. Yeah, I was going to say you might have a set of these. We bought them about the same time, I think, off Amazon or something like that for about £3. So that's sort of useful. And the reason I've been working on this week is because I've been asked to do a demonstration during our festival. So hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate this over next weekend, and not make a mess of it. So also I think it might be interesting if I demonstrate certain things on the blue foam, certain things on the grey foam as well, because other people have got that. There is a pink version of this stuff as well, but I haven't used that, and that might not be the same. But hopefully by the end of this week I'll have a full building to this. I went up to Hobbycraft today. I did mention this to you earlier on when we had our editorial discussion, and I went up to Hobbycraft to try and get some dark grey, thick grey card to make the shingles to go on the roof. And I drove into the car park, saw the queue into the shop, drove around the car park and drove back home. So still haven't got any grey cards, so I'm having to try and work out a different way to do that. However,
I think it could best be described that you suddenly came across what we could call a retail apocalypse.
Indeed. However, I have been experimenting slightly with this. This is a piece of mount board. And what I've done with this is that I sliced into the mount board, as you can see there, if I put that up to there, and I impressed the roof tiles into the mount board. So I'm sort of playing with this a bit at the moment in the hope to get a whole section done in one go. So that is essentially what I've been up to this week.
Well, I think we can say we're all suitably impressed.
I hope so. Otherwise, why bother?
That deserved a ping, that.
Indeed.
Indeed. As I was just going to say, to quote a rather sad news story of the week, a single ping, Vasily.
Indeed. I'd just like to say how much I enjoyed seeing Jen on as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
To see her on the show, discussing things that she knows all about. So fabulous. Yeah.
More than we do.
Well, frankly, we've been stealing the living from this show since we started it, and I think we're getting found out, to be honest. And the idea that we can maintain this kind of pretense of knowledge indefinitely is looking highly unlikely. But
well, let's maintain this pretense of knowledge with some of our highlights of the week. Now,
yes,
the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is it was announced kind of like probably about the beginning of last week, and I think everybody went, not another one. But this is not just another Tiger tank kit.
No, it isn't. This is Border's announcement of an early production Tiger One. You can see the box art here, 35th scale kit that has appeared. It's been welcomed. I put that in inverted commas by a lot of positivity, actually, having seen the sort of renderings of this kit, but also the usual murmurings from people saying, well, not another Tiger, why do we need another one of these kits, why can't we have something more original, why can't we do that? The reason why Border have approached this in the same way that lots of other companies have is it's a home run. It's a banker for them. They're going to make a lot of money out of this kit, and given the way they've approached this and what seems to be the kind of the precision and the detail that's been incorporated within the parts within this box, this is going to be a winner for Border. This looks like a really sensational piece of work. Should be stated right from the off that they've taken a more simplistic approach to this kit. It's essentially curbside. There are details within the engine bay, some of the radiator fixtures and fittings that go underneath the vent ports and on the engine deck are visible and are detailed, but the rest of it is empty. It's not a kit that includes a full interior. Externally, the kit includes quite a lot of different and independent parts that allow you to model different variations on one theme. These include mantlets that you can see on there, are the 5 of those. Also includes the air cleaners on the rear hull plate. Mm-hmm. They're different. It also includes different styles of exhausts and exhaust covers, and also 3 individual bins that are shown from Tigers from that period. You can see the bins here. The central bin is the one that's obviously the most well known, but the other 2 are quite distinctive. There was a 4th bin as well, which would have one that came from a Panther 4. That's not included in the kit. Personally, I don't really like the fussier 2 of those, and if I was to build this kit, and I would actually like to build one of these, the central one would be the one that I would go for. But it's not just the detail that's included on the base vehicle that makes this kit an intriguing prospect. It's what they offer as part and parcel of this package, and that's a complete set of accessories. But these accessories are things that possibly haven't been seen in kits
never
before,
been done before, no.
Including ham hocks, which is an extraordinary inclusion within a plastic model kit. Also, they include wooden beams that go on the side of the hull, and also muzzle covers, the machine guns, canvas covers as well, plus odd bits of stowage, tarpaulins, that kind of thing that hang off various bins. And also I noticed in this, but I couldn't see any more, on the box art on the side of the hull is shown what looks like
barbed
wire. Now, yeah, that's also called out in an image on one of the images that I've seen. It seems like that was a separate call out that they were highlighting on the side of this vehicle. Whether or not that barbed wire is included in this kit as in photo etch, I don't know. I can't confirm that, but it seemed odd that they were including that as something to be notable within the package.
Yeah, it does say on the front of the box, I can see it here, it says PE parts included. So I think they take that as an opportunity, hopefully, to include that.
Yeah,
be ideal.
And if that is the case, that's an extraordinary inclusion. This kit looks magnificent. For some reason, I've only built a handful of maybe 2 or 3 Tigers in my entire life, but I've got this burning desire at the moment to build a dark grey Tiger one of the earlier Tiger ones in grey, and this kit looks like it might be the perfect choice to do that. I like the stripped down early versions. You'll notice on these versions there aren't towing hawsers on the side of the hull and that kind of thing. So this is a much more stripped down vehicle, and it doesn't lose anything for being like that. And I think that's a great choice. But I think it's the additions, it's the choices that are offered within this single box that will make this a very attractive package for Border.
Do you know what? The thing that sold this to me, because when I saw it, they said, yeah, the Border doing a Tiger, and and I thought, oh well, I understand the need to do a Tiger. It wasn't something that was going to interest me, but good luck. As soon as I saw the renders with the muzzle cover on there, and I thought, oh, I've got to get this kit.
Yeah.
When I saw that and all the stowage and everything they were including, I was just like, oh no, I've got to get one of these. I've built Tigers in the past. I've built 2 Tamiya ones, but I've never done one of the early ones with the air filters. And it's one of the other things that Tigers are a minefield, because to some extent, each vehicle was almost individual in itself. They always had some feature that if you don't get it right, people will jump on you and say, well, you're doing this particular vehicle, but actually that's got like square flanges on the round thing rather than, blah, 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 blah. So Border really do appear to have, I think they have done offered as much as they can as you know, in plastic, beyond, you know, something that then has to become the domain of the aftermarket kit people. But I just think that just looks really stunning. And if anybody says, "Oh, not just not another Tiger," no, trust me, this is not just another Tiger. It's
And I think your point about the accuracy across each vehicle is an important one, and I think it's worth bearing in mind, because every German vehicle during the Second World War that the Allies came across was a Tiger tank. That's shorthand for a German vehicle. We need to remember there were very few of these vehicles made.
no,
So each one was specific, and there are people out there that know each individual vehicle like the back of their hand. You know, so if mistakes are made, they do get highlighted more than a T-34 that was made in tens of thousands. These things were made in hundreds, and so there weren't very many of them. Having said that, I think that that most people, such as myself, are going to be more interested in the fact that this is what appears to be a highly detailed new package that allows them to build something without the sort of whistles and bells of the current sort of fad of interior kits and all that sort of stuff. We are going to come onto a kit later on that is like the antithesis of this Tiger. So it shows how the hobby offers certain things to certain groups. And the simplicity of this appeals to me, but it's not just that. I'm with you. It's the features that get included within this as well. This is a magnificent looking release. Time will tell how accurate it is and also how it goes together. We can't tell from the CAD drawings, and we would not make an assumption based on what we see only in those drawings. But if they're anything to go by, I think we're all in for a treat. We have no price on this. We don't know how much this is likely to be. So we need to wait until such times as this kit appears. But I'm with you. I would love to build one of these. This is certainly on my list of things to do at some point, and I hope I get the chance.
Well, it's a bit of an armor-heavy show tonight because I think we've got 4 armor kits and 1 aeroplane. But we'll leap ahead to... Now, this is a company that I've built a couple of their kits, and this is First to Fight. They're a Polish company, and they do 72nd scale armor kits, and they are... When I say simplified, I don't mean in that kind of crude way. They're actually really highly detailed, and they're not unlike the same approach that S Model make. Now, this is a new one that they're going to do, which is a Renault 35, but this is like a Polish version. It's not the first time the R35 has been done in 72nd scale. Again, S Model have done this as a kit. The thing I like about First to Fight is that their kits come with a magazine. They come with a booklet. It's mostly all in Polish, but there are always useful illustrations. There are photographs, diagrams. And it's all to do with this kind of wargaming kind of system that First to Fight are incorporated into. But if I say, if I don't want to say wargaming models, because honestly, the quality of these things belies what they are intended for. I've built a couple of them. I built the little Panzer II they do. It's a Panzer II-C. And I've built in fact, I've got to paint it at some stage. It's an SD KFZ. I think it's the 221. But they are superbly molded. They are really ridiculously kind of value for money. And like I say, you get decals. You also get this magazine, so you get a reference source with it as well. I know First to Fight I've got a number of kits coming out soon, including it's an early Panzer III. It's either an early Panzer III or Panzer IV. It's Sunday night, people. I'm a bit frazzled. But if you've not tried any of their kits, they are a fantastic palette cleanser. You can build, paint, and decal over a weekend. Brilliant little company. I really do like them, and I do actually hope we can feature more of the stuff on this show, and indeed at some stage do some kind of detailed builds as well, because I love them. And with the links, as always, links to all this stuff will be going up after the show. So if you're interested in small scale armor, pop along and have a look at their Facebook page, have a look at their range, because there may be something there that you'll go, oh, I mean, I've just remembered actually, I've got a Fiat truck that I built of theirs. Who else does a Fiat truck? Brilliant. Absolutely
Can I
brilliant.
ask, how much, what sort of price range are these kits, and also
Well,
what's the availability like?
Well, I've been buying them from the Frew Model Centre, and they're usually around about $7.99. I'm sure if you Google the availability in this country, there are people stocking them. But yeah, $7.99 for a little 72nd scale tank with a magazine. I'm not complaining.
Talk about the simplicity. What sort of parts count would you expect from a small vehicle like this? Are we talking about single part tracks with wheels?
Yeah, they tend to do single part tracks, but sometimes they sandwich the wheels, so you've got a bit of depth to them. The tracks can be a little bit, because of the molding, they sometimes do require a little bit of cleanup, and they do require a certain amount of fudging. You know, literally
with mud, as we call it.
But the armored cars are honestly the best. But the best recommendation is, I can eulogize about them, but try them.
Yeah,
go and buy one, try one.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on from the R35, we've got some information now on Modelsvit's Mirage 2000 single seaters. These are likely to be coming up in the sort of the near future. They're doing 2000C, EG, and 5F, as can be seen from this. I'm assuming at some point they'll also do two-seaters, D and an N, which would follow suit. Again, we've got some CAD renderings of this model. If you've been following this program and following our midweek program as well, you'll know that Modelsvit is a company that we admire greatly on the Interesting Modeling Co. Page, and we're fascinated by how much they're improving with each subsequent release. This one looks really to be an impressive, almost state-of-the-art plastic kit in 72nd scale. Certainly from what we've seen of this, the quality of the detail and the especially the surface detail that will be evident on the plastic parts when this thing finally arrives is something to behold. Of course, it's a Mirage 2000. It's a beautiful aircraft, so a lot of people will be delighted to see this. But more than that, it's almost in a field of its own now, because the Mirage 2000 kits that are already out there from the likes of Hella and Italeri are, shall we say, less than impressive. And this thing seems to deal with a lot of the issues that those kits tend to suffer from. You can see from these drawings that surface detail will be comprehensive. There'll also be lots of fine internal detail. We've seen the wheel wells here, but also the cockpit detail and also weaponry and that kind of thing is likely to be delicate. The cockpit just in this drawing looks magnificent, and it also looks as though they're going to be including, I don't know, but it seems like they're including etch in that, and rather than it just being plastic. Detail in that looks to be very high for a 72nd scale kit, and also for a kit where the cockpit is pretty small. This is the Mirage 2000 is not a very big aircraft, and so to pack that amount of detail into areas such as this is pretty impressive. I like the look of this. We've mentioned before the cost of Modelsvit Mirages, so I think £30, 30 plus is likely to be a ballpark figure for this kit should you want it. But for that, you're likely to be getting a model kit of this aircraft that's going to be as good as you can get at the moment. I don't see a lot of other companies tackling this aircraft in 72nd scale anytime soon. Interesting there that you've got the this shows some of the changes to the aircraft, including tail fits, fixtures and fittings for the different versions. So that's interesting. Also, I'm assuming that weapons pylons and that kind of thing, which I think vary across the three versions that are offered, especially the 5, the Dash 5. I think that's quite a different aircraft altogether. So it'd be interesting to see how that looks. Overall, though, from the drawings that we've seen and from the information that Modelsvit have published on this upcoming kit, we're really impressed, aren't we? And it certainly looks like it's going to be one that 72nd scale fans of Dassault aircraft, and let's face it, who isn't, and pretty Delta jets And let's face it, who isn't? We're all going to be pretty keen to take a deep look at this. I know that Drew will be very keen, and I'm sure we'll see his work on this kit when it arrives. So no further information on this. They will have a link. We'll post that up, so you can see more of this in more detail at your leisure. But overall, yeah, fantastic new kit, looking like arriving soon from Moleswick.
Yeah, as always, follow the link, click on their page, like their page, and await with interest. But that does look absolutely gorgeous. Now, back to Border. It's a Border double bill tonight. And, well, this is a bit of an update on their Crusader. Now, honestly, I'm going to chuck money at this kit as soon as it becomes available. I am all over this like ants on a syrup jar. I can't wait for this. It's, yeah, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. However, this isn't an update about the kit per se. This is that in the first few boxings of this, there will be a limited edition cutting mat. Now, perhaps not the greatest innovation and revolution in the history of scale modeling, but if you're after something a bit different and you want to be, say, I was one of the first people who got one of the first Border model Crusaders, then I think for people who are ordering the very early batch, you are getting this rather splendid cutting map molded in a kind of sand yellow, which I think is a rather nice touch. I think that's a nice kind of gesture from Border, and yeah, I just think things like that, it's innovative thinking, and regardless of the cutting mat, I just want the kit. But that's a nice touch. I really like that.
We've talked about the Crusader before on this program, and we've mentioned the Airfix kit that both of us seemingly want to build again now, despite the fact that there's a cutting edge one coming out for Border. I think this is a fabulous choice, really, from them, and to see, let's be honest, what is arguably one of the best looking Second World War tanks finally going to appear. We've had 35th scale kit from Italeri that's been there since I guess the mid-70s. We've also had the Airfix kit as well. But to see something like this that is going to match up to the standards we've seen from Border in their other kits is a mouth-watering prospect. And I think that this kit is going to be massively popular amongst people. So, well, the two of us are inevitably going to be building one of these things, aren't we, at some point? So I think that's got to be a great thing.
Well, we go from one of the best looking tanks of the Second World War to perhaps one of the most ungainly looking ones of the Second World War.
Indeed, but much like I prefer the B-24 Liberator over the B-17 Flying Fortress, I have a deep soft spot, if that's the best description for the Lee. I think it's a really great looking vehicle. It's as ugly as sin, but there's just something about it that I really like. We took a look at this today, had a good old look at the images online. This is Mini Art's new kit of this, mid-production Lee. This is the complete antithesis of the Tiger that we saw earlier on, because this is a full-blown engineering study in 1/35. That's the only description I can give this. This includes absolutely everything that you could rightly expect from a 35th scale plastic model kit. We're scrolling through the color schemes at the moment to give you a fair idea of these. Overall drab American one there. I kind of like the blander version though, with just the olive drab with the yellow markings.
I do like that combination of olive drab and yellow.
I do think it looks really nice. Again, you can kind of see it on there, but I think the other one, this one here, I really like this with the mud camouflage on. I think that looks really good, and also a bit of a challenge as well to paint something like that. So I do like that. I think that's good. Nice to have these choices. Mini Art do have quite a lot of color scheme choices in their kits, so it's not unusual to see this. I particularly like this one with the red and white threes on the back of the turret. But it gives you an indication of what you can what you can expect from this kit. But if the color schemes are impressive within the box, the parts just take it into another level. I downloaded, when I was doing my research on this kit, I downloaded the instruction sheet. The instruction sheet is a mesmerizing product in itself. You look through it and it gives you an indication of where you're going to start with. You start off with the interior, start with the fighting compartment, driver's compartment, the floor, then that, and then flat pack, build around that, the lower hull. Then you've got the radial engine, the engine bay. You move on to the fighting compartment, all of the guns fully detailed. You move on to the inside of the turret, all of the inside of the turret is fully detailed. Then you have all of the running gear. Again, the running gear mixes up plastic and etch. Then you have the tracks. The tracks are upper and lower sections of the pads, and then you have the kind of the links that join everything together.
The end connectors.
The end connectors. There are 76 track links on each side. Each of those 76 is made up of 4 parts. So you have 4 parts per 76 per link of those 76 links. That's just mind-blowing just to begin with this. So I looked at the kit and I thought, oh, I'd love to build one of these things. I'd love to build one of these links. And then I thought, I'm going to actually be gluing this thing together for about 3 months before I start painting it, just to get it all in place. But I think that's where the challenge and that's where the appeal lies in one of these kits. It's not something that you grab a hold of and build in 2 weeks. This is something to savor. This is something where you take the kit, take the box, open it up, and you work on it over a 12-month period, and you enjoy every single second of it. And at the end of it, you have something that's really impressive.
To use a metaphor, this is a very fine single malt Scotch of a kit, and it's not a kit. It's not a kit you're going to swig back.
No, absolutely. I don't think you could, to be honest. I don't think this is the sort of kit that you could sit down and just run at and just put your head down. I think there's too much to it. I would imagine this is a 3, even for I speak as a professional. If I was looking at this, I'd be looking at this as a 3-month build. You know, I would be working on this almost in between other things. I would have to sort of break it up. But God, it looks magnificent, and it really does. If you would like to see just how impressive this kit is, and I see that it was described as a beast of a kit, I think that's absolutely what it is. If you would like to see what this is like, follow the link onto their Facebook page, and then follow the Facebook page onto their website. You can download the instruction sheet, a PDF of the instruction sheet. It will give you an idea of what you can expect from this kit. Of course, this is not the first of the Lees either that Mini Art have created. I think there are 2 or 3 more as well. Yeah. Early, late.
This is really just a change of color schemes on this one.
I think so. So it's essentially what you would expect.
But they're nice color schemes. And the other thing is that it's going to sound a bit bizarre, but actually, the box art and the profiles do actually give you lots of weathering ideas, because
I thought that today, actually. I was looking at the side view of that and thought all you would need to do to weather this and make this look cool is actually copy the artwork.
I know that's probably going to get people, you know what some people like is work from photographs or whatever, but actually I'm looking at that, I'm thinking whoever painted those, whoever drew those and painted those, they've got exactly the kind of effects I want to have on my model, regardless of whether somebody will say, well, it wouldn't weather like that. I don't care, it's my model. So
I like the way on one of the drawings you could see where the dust had accumulated around the edges of the panels, but then on the side hatch there's a visor, and you've got dust that's hanging down from it. You can, I'm not sure which one it is. There's one of the pictures. There it is. You can see the dust coming down from that vision slot on the side of the door. And I thought, that's just brilliant. All you need is sort of spray the dust over the side of the model and everything, work it away like that, and you've got essentially your almost complete weathering on that model. The drawings on the side of on what I assume are the coloured instructions are fabulous reference sources in their own right.
At some stage, the next time I build an olive drab tank, I am actually going to have the guts to paint the lower hull and the gear and everything I'm not going to put any olive drab on it. It is just going to be painted sand.
Yeah.
And then add weathering layers on top of that, because I nearly did it on the Sherman, but I chickened out and I had to put olive, because I was thinking, no, it's got to have olive drab in there. And no, I think the next time I am just as a gamble is that if I was to build this, I would paint the running gear, the sponsons, everything, and the lower hull and the inside of the everything there. That would just be painted a sand color, and I would probably pick the tires out in like a mid gray. There would be other weathering effects going on top of that to then blend everything in, and mud splashes and stuff like that. But I think to actually just push techniques and ideas. I know we talk about this a lot, but just sometimes you just got to throw an idea at something. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't quite work. I think for the last kind of 10 minutes of the show, we might overrun a bit tonight, but what the hell? I think we'll kind of go and talk about our experiences of building Lee/Grant tanks, or indeed, if we've never actually built a Lee/Grant tank. I have, and it will not come as a surprise, because I think, like many, I cut my teeth on this. I think I first got this in the El Alamein Battlefront set, but over the years, I think I built a couple more blister packs and boxed ones. And in fact, I've actually got a couple here. Somebody sent me some vintage ones as well. You can build a Lee and a Grant from this. Perhaps not very accurate and perhaps a little bit long in the tooth, but you know what? It's a classic kit. It really is. I mean, likewise, I think you said, can you remember whether or not you've actually built this model?
This is falling within that hazy area. I think as you go through your modeling career, you end up building so much you can't actually remember whether you've built a particular kit or whether you've bought a particular book. I'm sure at some point I've at least dabbled with one of these kits. I've got this hazy memory of the Grant, actually, rather than the Lee. In the same way that I've got a slightly hazy memory of the Airfix 32nd scale Lee. But I'm pretty sure, in fact, I'm 100% certain I've never completed one. This falls within, I think we're going to talk about this at some point on our midweek show. This falls within that hazy area of aircraft and subjects you love, but you've never built, that you've sort of avoided. And the Lee and the Grant fit very much within that. I've never built these two kits. I think they were re-released recently, both to me.
They were, because I've built the Grant. I built the Grant in the 1980s because my mum, who's watching tonight, hello mum, I built that in about the mid 1980s. Then some years ago, I came across another copy of the Lee kit in a charity shop for about £1, and it was completely intact, brand new. So it was like, yes, please. And last year, yes, you're right, the Lee and the Grant were reissued last year, and I've built the reissued Grant because it was one of the kits I'd wanted to build for a long time. It was built purely as something to keep in a prime state, ready for a painting demo in the future. So that was all I did with it. It's covered in primer. It's sat in a box in the workshop. In fact, I've just looked up and I can see it in front of me. I mean, that took me a day and a half to build. Just, the antitheses of the mini art kit. Yeah. Simplified, basic, but a heck of a lot of fun. Yeah. And the other one that I built, for some reason, I built the Hasegawa Lee back in the late 1970s. My impressions of this and the Grant, I didn't build the Grant, but just seeing the photographs of the models and everything, I don't know, they always looked a bit clunky to me. They just looked a bit heavy in terms of detail. Probably an unfair assumption, but it's certainly, I built that Lee. I remember that quite vividly, in actually pretty much in the same room I'm in at the moment. So, but you mentioned it before, and these are two kits that you and I would honestly sell close relatives to get hold of, and that is...
I've already put Elizabeth on the market to just get one of these things.
So have I.
Yes, we're going to.
Sorry, Liz.
We're going to sell Liz for the. No, in all seriousness, I genuinely would love to get hold of one or other or both of these kits. In much the same way, I really want to get hold of one or other or both of the Tamiya kits. Obviously, the two Tamiya kits fit within my legacy build series, which I'm sort of working my way through. But these two, now there is a story that goes along with the Lee version of this. Many years ago, there was a modeler, diorama builder in the UK, who won multiple gold medals at early incarnations of Euromilitaire. His name's John Hunter. John Hunter was a very well-known model maker back then, and he built one of these Airfix Lees and entered it in as a diorama. And it was, I think he'd done it as a Russian version, being overrun by Germans, and the figures were all converted and super detailed from Airfix multi-pose figures. So it was a full-blown diorama built around Airfix kit. Now, what made it stand out was he took the Airfix Lee, this kit that you can see on the screen now, and he completely built the interior of it. So he scratch built everything inside the vehicle so that it was sat basically on out on the kind of Russian steppes. It was almost, I think from memory, it was in a ditch, and he'd opened up all of the doors. The hatches were all open, the side doors were all open and everything. All of the interior was scratch built. It was an absolutely phenomenal, it would stand up today as being a phenomenal piece of work. And this is going back 20, 25 years, this model. So that was the first time I'd seen what was possible from this kit. I would love to get one. I genuinely would love to get hold of one of these things.
Do you know what? I think I am going to have to get the thumb screws out and start badgering people in the office, because I think that these two would make for splendid vintage classic reissues.
I agree.
Because they haven't been around. These have not been around since the late 70s. They never made it into the range in the 1980s. So these have not been seen for 40 years or more.
And do you know if the molds are still extant? I
think the molds are still out there, yeah. They're still there, and they would be in exceptional condition because they just haven't been run in 40 years. So there should be no wear on them. You were talking about your legacy builds. Now, actually, there is a bit of runoff with this, because these were 32nd scale, not 35th, 32nd scale. But Airfix weren't the only people to do a 32nd scale Lee and Grant kit.
No, they weren't. Monogram also did a Lee and a Grant. Two models that were very popular with modelers in the 1970s, and two models that were made very famous by two of Shep Payne's fantastic dioramas. He built both of these models, and he built dioramas around both of these models. It's not his work, I don't think, that's on the box art. I think that the box art models are somebody else. But he did one of which was he did. You may recall he did a Grant going past a destroyed Panzer IV, which was also made from a Monogram 32nd scale kit. But the very difficult to get hold of now, those two Monogram kits. They're almost as difficult to get hold of as the Airfix kits. And they command quite high prices. I've been trying to keep an eye on those two kits on eBay and places like that, secondhand kit companies, King Kit and those sort of places, and they don't really come up anymore.
I think Revell reissued the Grant. Revell America reissued the Grant probably about 10 years ago or so. So
it's possible to get that kit.
I would, if I was you, I would Google Revell 32nd scale Grant, Lee rather, and you might be a little bit more in luck there. So you're talking about Shep Payne's one. I'm just desperately trying to Google the
I put you on the spot, haven't I?
No, I found it. Is that it's nothing like a bit of improv. You were right about the Grant that he did, because it does feature on the cover of his. There it is, which is an absolutely fantastic. If you haven't got this book and you can find one at a good price, invest.
Indeed, yes, absolutely, and you can get them; they are out there,
Mm.
definitely. So I think that, like I say, it is one of those vehicles that at some point I'm going to need to have a go at. Having built a couple of desert dioramas over the summer, I'm also intrigued by the idea of doing a desert scene, and I'm also intrigued by the idea of combining two Tamiya kits in the same way that Shep combined two Monogram kits to do a Grant going past the Panzer IV. So I may recreate his classic diorama, but instead of using 32nd scale Monogram kits, use 35th scale Tamiya kits because they're kind of classics. So, but we just have to find them, don't we? And that's the thing. We just have to hunt our way through. And who knows when all of the nonsense that's out there is over and we get to go back to model shows, you and I may well be able to hunt around in secondhand dusty corners and come across some of these kits for that we can perhaps enjoy once more, because we certainly aren't finding it easy to get them at the moment.
Well, gee, Spencer, it's not like we haven't got other things that we can build at the moment.
I know. This is the kind of slight contradiction, isn't it? Because you and I, we spend our Sunday nights talking about brand new kits and how we've got all of these new kits to come and obviously that's going to be part and parcel of my sort of work schedule for the foreseeable future. And yet we still discuss with great affection kits that are almost as old as us.
A kit that you can't get hold of is always the burning one that you want to build next. It is just. I mean, I was looking this week. There was some. What was it I was looking for? I'm still kind of. I still really want to get hold of an Eshi F4JS. It's the RAF boxing and also a Fujimi boxing, and also a couple of the little Eshi F16s. Simply because I want to own them. They were things that I used to walk into beaters and just go, oh God, not that again.
Yeah.
Familiarity literally bred contempt. Now that, of course, they're no longer available, I just want them. I think it's probably I want them because I'm trying to pathetically recapture lost youth, etc., etc. But
well, mine is, and I've spoken to Mr. Andy Farmer of this manor, I've discussed this with, who obviously has the ear of Tamiya. But my number one, literally the number one kit that I want more than any other kit is Tamiya's 125th scale Tiger 1. That is the absolute number one kit that I'm going to build, and I will absolutely build that before I'm no longer able to build kits. That is, I have a very personal attachment to that kit, which we'll discuss at some other point. But that is literally my number one kit. If anybody said you can have any kit in the world, whatever you want, I'd say I want a mint Tamiya Tiger 1.
It is one of those. It is just one of those iconic. One of those iconic kits that it's you got to get it, you got to do it. It's I mean my recollections of it are in the Tamiya catalogue with the photograph of the cutaway one with the nutcrackers and everything. It's just brilliant.
He says digging out a catalogue. I wonder if it's in here, so we can show people what we're talking about. This is where I desperately try and find this.
Just bear with me a second. I've just got to attend to something. So fill in.
As you can see, so this is the picture that Jonathan's mentioning. But yeah, it's just one of those kits that I really, really fancy building, and had as a very young modeler and didn't really do a very good job. But I would love to have a go at it. And I know that Tamiya reissued this thing perhaps 20, 25 years ago. I think it's come and gone sporadically, and you can pick up versions of this, but not very often. So we're hoping that at some point with Tamiya's rolling kind of re-release program, that at some point this 25th scale Tiger 1 will reappear. It's just one of those, like John said, it's an iconic kit. It's something that it's not. These days, it's ridiculously inaccurate. It's clunky in places. It doesn't have all of the detail that you would expect from a kit, certainly not in 25th scale. But it is one of those kits that I think is sort of I'd love as part of my collection, and also love to be able to do a diorama around as well. That's something that I'm genuinely thinking. We went out on a walk, and you kind of, when you're walking, you're kind of thinking about all sorts of things, and I'm thinking, yeah, definitely going to build a diorama around that thing at some point. So yeah, hopefully we'll see one being reissued. Please, Mr. Tamiya.
I'm sure you can. Yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will turn up at some stage.
Yes, I'm sure.
Right. Any other business?
I really don't think so. No, I don't think there is there? I think we've covered all the bases tonight.
I think the only thing to comment on is that obviously this time next week the Festival of Modelling will be over. But I'm just trying to find the poster that I created for it today, which I was going to preview here and put up, and it's obviously been saved deep in some nested folder on the iMac that I can't find at the moment, so I'll do it after the show. But essentially, we've now got a schedule set up. We've got everybody in place to do demos. So we're ready to go on next Friday. Well, we'll kick off Friday with just like essentially our Wednesday show. It's going to be an informal get together. Try and bring some guests in. And then Saturday, kicking off at 10 o'clock, we're actually kicking off with Drew, who will be building his Festa C130. So that should be fantastic. Dave says, what inspires you to choose the subjects you do topic for future Wednesday show? Absolutely, Dave. That would be a very good topic. We're never short of topics, and as you've probably noticed, as usually, we're never short of things to talk about. The only thing we are short about is time, because yet again, this was supposed to be an hour tonight. We've got an hour and 25 minutes, but we did want to talk about Lees and Grants, and they're just fantastic vehicles, and I might actually build a little Airfix one as a palette cleanser at some stage. So on that note, again, we'd like to say thank you very much to Jen Wright for coming along this evening and giving us an informed opinion of the Sphesta Hercules. Thank you to Mr. Pollard for sitting around and
no problem,
joining in. And as ever, to everybody who watched tonight, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time out to watch two middle-aged men act out their midlife crises live on the internet,
week in, week out.
Yes. And yeah, we are now in the UK back into another period of lockdown for a month. So it just remains for us to say, stay safe, stay out of trouble. If you are required to follow safety protocols, please do, if not for yourself, for other people. But above all, just build some models, really.
Could I, before we go, could I be slightly self-indulgent? I'm sure people have seen this. I posted up on my Facebook page today. I've been asked about my Harrier book that I released 12 months ago, and which I own. These books, I only do small limited runs of them. So once they're sold out, I tend to sort of delete them. But I've been asked quite a lot about it over the last sort of month or so. So I'm deciding whether or not to reprint this book. So if there is anybody that would like a copy of this book, then get in touch with me, because I am thinking of reprinting it. And if it's worthwhile, I will certainly do that. And I'd obviously love to hear from you. If there's no interest, although there seems to have been at the moment, which is good, then I'll sort of reconsider it. But if you'd like to see a copy of the book, which includes the full story of the 24th scale Harrier T2 conversion, it's really the only place where everything is in one slot. Although it appeared in MAI. God blimey, it's been a while. MAI in sort of small chunks. This is the only place where everything is together, laid out, so you can see the whole thing in one go. So if you would like to see a copy of that, please get in touch with me. I would much appreciate it.
Spencer, any other business? No. Right. Goodbye, everybody. Oh, my book.
Yes, forgot. Yes, I forgot.
This
Yes.
this is why we have this. You know, I think next time it'll be any other business. No, oh, I've forgotten. No, sorry, you had your chance. Right.
This is what sort of slightly concerns me about next weekend. Any other business on Friday night and we carry on till 3 in the morning.
No,
None
I'm
of
just
us gets
it's
any
just like
sleep.
it's like hello everybody, welcome to tonight's the start of the Festival of Modelling. Any other business? That's it. It's just going to be we'll kick off like that.
Open-ended. Yeah.
Well, it's honestly, I'm putting a limit on that on the Friday night, the Saturday night, and the Sunday night. There is going to be a limit. So
Yeah, please do join us. John's worked extremely hard on this thing, and it really wouldn't be possible without him. So give the guys some love and join us, will you, next weekend? It's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And as it's turned out, with the lockdown that's happened, it's really the inevitability of the show being cancelled has now been put into stark kind of sort of focus, really, because if it hadn't been cancelled, it certainly would have been right at the
yeah, it would have been. That would have been timing for you, wouldn't it?
It would have been. Yeah.
You've just reminded me. Having now chastised you for any other business, I've just suddenly remembered my any other business. So, hoist by my own petard here.
It's no more than you deserve, frankly.
But the most important bit of news of the week was the lovely little Halloween cupcake I had at Shirley's Cafe in Severn Beach. So thank you, Shirley's Cafe. That was absolutely splendid. When lockdown is finally over and you are back down in these parts, we will have a trip out to Severn Beach because you'll love it and you'll love Shirley's Cafe. And they do fantastic
cakes. It looks very, very heavy on the icing. How was the cupcake? Was it good?
Let's just say I am still cleaning my teeth.
It's still cloying away.
It certainly was lovely cake that, but right, we'll try this again. Everybody, please stay safe, stay out of trouble. If you have to observe local restrictions and things, then please do. If not for yourself, then for other people around you, especially our NHS people in this country. So on that note, it remains, we'll still be here to entertain you, which is a depressing thought in itself. So on that note...
Did you have to end with that, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was going so well.
Well, there we go. There you go. We'll just end on that. That's cheered everybody up a bit now. Yay. No, stay safe, stay out of trouble. We'll see you Wednesday for the midweek social. And obviously... Yeah. Oops, Daisy. Got an echo here now. I'll see you... so well, and then another app opened up. Right, third time's the charm.
Bye
Everybody. Bye.